Welcome to another episode of Talk to the Fedora, chatting about hard-hitting, honest entrepreneur wisdom that you can use to grow your small business. I'm Jared Goldsmith from eSAX Virtual Events, and today we are very pleased to be welcoming Kim Freeburn. Kim Freeburn is the founder of Stratitude Corporation and is the regional director for the CFO Centre, where superstar CFOs help ambitious entrepreneurs achieve extraordinary things. She has more than 25 years of corporate experience helping business owners, large and small, resolve critical business issues and develop strategies to enhance shareholder value and overall financial results. An experienced financial leader herself, Kim spent 22 years as a CFO for Sysco Corporation, a Fortune 100 company, working closely with operations, sales, HR, and talent management to build sustainable teams and practices while achieving superior financial results. She has spent many years working with mid-sized and owner-managed companies to build value for the long term by translating complex problems into clear, measurable, and meaningful actions so entrepreneurs can have the time and money to do what they love. Kim volunteers with the Innovation Cluster and Women's Business Network of Peterborough. She holds a Bachelor of Commerce degree, is a chartered professional accountant, and a certified executive coach. Kim, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Kim, so let's start off by where are you calling in from, please?
Well, in the lovely Kawarthas area, which is in central Ontario. So it's a beautiful sunny day here.
Excellent, lovely. I'm calling in from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. So Kim, let's start off a little bit about your background, a bit more depth about than the bio I just read. Who is Kim and what is the business organization you're with now, please?
Well, I started my journey in Eastern Ontario in the Kingston area. I went to Carleton University, actually, my Bachelor of Commerce. So I had my beginnings in Ottawa. I ended up staying in the Ottawa area post-university and worked in public accounting in Ottawa to get my CPA. And my journey took various turns, as most people do in their mid to late 20s. And I found myself working in industry, and that industry was the food service. And I enjoyed a very long career in that. Really working in the financial aspects of it. And in 2016, found myself wanting a different lifestyle. At the age of 50, it's asked the what's next. And so for me, it was, I think I want to have my own business for the first time ever. So who does that at the age of 50, kind of embark on a different path? To a great success in my life from a very, very corporate environment, very high-paced environment, to really the lifestyle that I wanted to have. I'm currently working.
Not many people
as a regional center. I work in business development. I help connect really strong CFO to businesses that are small and mid. Maybe they don't have the type of expertise that they need in their financial areas or in their strategic areas. And so my role is really finding, connecting, collaborating with those business owners to bring them the resources and the support networks that they need to grow and develop their business.
Wonderful. Let's talk about the entrepreneurship angle. You've worked alongside many entrepreneurs. What type of skills did you have when you first launched, and what did you need to have to work with the CFO Centre?
That's a great question. I was under the impression that I had all the skills that I needed to be an entrepreneur. And the reality is I had a really good infrastructure of skills. My financial knowledge was excellent. I had the right mindset. And as I entered into entrepreneur, and I have my own executive coaching business, and that was probably the first step into entrepreneurship. I thought I had everything I needed. I thought it was all about a plan, work the plan, make the plan happen, execute the plan, and the results will come. Sounds great in theory, but I learned very quickly that theory baseline for starting your own business, but the things happen a little bit differently. And so I learned a fair one about how to take my strong financial skills, to adapt them, and then what other skills did I need to draw on to really become the entrepreneur I was going to be when I started it.
You know, we talked a bit about the collaboration, and let's talk about a bit of the networking. Did you use much networking resources during your career?
Well, I think generally during my career, I always felt that I had a real relationship within the organizations that I worked with. I am a CPA. And when I say that, I don't mean that derogatory means, but I think for me, it's more important the people aspect of what I do than the actual financial components of it. So my career was always built on those fun accountants, or one of those people that was highly involved and within an organization. So I started to take a step into the entrepreneurial world. It was less so about executing and the specific strategies and the little things, a lot more around building relationships. And in fact, the relationship is what comes first. I think naturally people, so it was taking that component of doing what I love and doing more of it, putting myself into situations where that was rather than the selling or the marketing or the accounting or the operational components of it. So I think a piece of it for me came fairly early on and was a really easy thing for me to develop. Although I think there are probably some stumbling blocks along the way. Yeah, like.
Well, excellent. Maybe we'll have a chance to chat about some of those stumbling blocks shortly. But you mentioned the concept of mind frame. So it doesn't matter what age people are when they're launching a business. Good on you, in your 50s to do so. But let's dial back a bit and talk a bit about that mind frame. What is it and why is it important?
I think first, for me, it was having a really successful career. It was a sense of, can I still grow? I was what I was doing, but can I be successful doing something new? And can I grow at that age? So it was always a big question for me. What else can I do? The growth mindset is really important. And for me, the alternative to that was I'm done with that. I can do this, and being a lot more pragmatic, maybe a little bit more methodical. I think having that growth step to exploring things that maybe not quite so rigidly planned never work out exactly how you plan them. So it's really being a little bit more flexible, a little bit more adaptable, being open to ideas that maybe aren't your, in my expert world, great ideas, they're my ideas, you develop a real sense of confidence. So I think you have to step back and start your own. What don't I know? A little bit of humble pie always helps. Being open to what you're hearing and listening. That was an interesting journey initially.
Yeah, hearing and listening is very key because as startups, as entrepreneurs, we have a mind frame. We know where we want to be, but it's listening to feedback and accepting feedback from others can really help leverage the business.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I see it a lot with the entrepreneurs that we work with through the CFO Centre, and I see it a lot coaching business. It's finding that have the right mindset to be able to move their business forward, and everyone can be helped. Those that are really successful and the real success I see in the coaching piece or in even the CFO services are those people and entrepreneurs that have the right mindset. They want help. They are asking for help, open to listening. And sometimes that means listening to the things that maybe they don't do well, or being told, this is not working, let's shift this, let's try something new, and really exploring alternatives to what. So the mindset piece of it is one of those critical foundations for growth. Have sustainable businesses long term. How do you continue to evolve? How do you evolve and change and do what you're needing to do to employ people? And how do you find satisfaction in doing that? So you can't do what you've always done. You have to evolve. So that is critical for that success.
Right. Thank you, Kim. Everybody's told about the value of mentorship or finding a coach. How can entrepreneurs benefit from, let's say, working with the CFO Centre or yourself about bringing their concept, their business more forward?
I think there are lots of benefits. When we look at, what are we trying to achieve when we're working with small and mid-sized business? Lots of family-owned enterprise, lots of entrepreneurs. It's what's the end goal, right? Can you fix my pay? I need a little bit of money today. It's not about that. It's about long-term sustainability. So I think in mentoring business people, being mindful of what do they want to look like 5 years down the road? What's their business plan long term? And it's really evolving a vision of their business that is in 10 years. Take a look at where you've done in the last 10 years, and what does that look like? What does it feel like? And it's business people. Let's not go into feelings, right? But the reality is we're humans. We all have feelings. We all have goals and desires, and it's easier for some to speak of them than others. But it's taking a look at those ultimate goals need to look like and feel like for me, and then backing that up into now how do we get there? And that's where we come in. We know how to get there, but how you for every single individual. It needs to be a unique sort of story that you're crafting and evolving. Lots of different factors. So it's about figuring out their end goal, ideas, their unique. Maybe they want to sell their business. Maybe they want to move to Panama. Who knows what their end game is? But knowing what that is up front and really digging down into a values perspective and emotional perspective that anchors those things. Those visions concrete, so that there's an emotional activities, because when the going gets tough and you ask yourself, yes, and we all do it as entrepreneurs, we do it on occasion. There's an issue, like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Oh yeah, this is why. So it's really about devising a strategy and a plan and implementing it that makes sense for your long-term vision, wherever that may be.
Yeah, the long-term vision, Kim, people want to stay in business in 5 years, 10 years, that big picture. How important is the concept of branding for you when you talk to your clients about entrepreneurship? They might have been in business 5 or 10 or 20 years or just launching. What do you advise your clients about branding? When I
initially think of branding, I think of marketing, right? I think of that type of, that's where people go when you say brand. the reality is branding is much more about who are you being. So it's how you do everything. It's not about what you're showing the rest of the world. Not your Instagram, not your Facebook page. It's not your website. Those are components of who your brand is, but your brand is you. As an entrepreneur and you're starting your business, really the only offer is yourself. So who am I? And who do I want to show up as? And how do I want people to experience me? I think is the really important part that people really understand when they're starting their business. I did, and I did. So for me, it was about, I thought my brand needed to be my website. I spent to start, I will say this, to start the design of the website, I needed this, I needed that, I needed a corporate name, I needed all these things. A lot of fun planning it because this was the idea and this was the excitement. To get the business off the ground, you don't need the brand. You need to show up. So you as an individual and who you are and what you do. And then the consistency. Branding is all about consistency. So it's showing up the same way all the time. People know you, Jared, because you wear the hat, right? You have a recognized.
Can't go anywhere without it.
Up the same way. You've got a smile. You have the same interest. You ask questions. You are always consistent in the way that you show up, and that is your brand. Maybe that's a component of it. That's your name, but the reality is who you show up as, and as you can is your brand. So, my brand changed a fair bit, couple of years. I always thought my brand was my nation. My brand was my financial expertise as a CFO. Kind of, trust me, I'm the expert. I know the solution. It wasn't my brand. That maybe opened doors, but it doesn't earn you clients. When you're looking for that, it's who you are day to day, how you, what the experience is, and how easy it is to work with in this particular circumstance that creates the brand over time and evolves it. So I always tell people, it's great to have a plan and work the plan, but when it comes to, it's about who do you really want? Who are you authentically? Who do you want to be? How are you going to show up every day? You're going to make sure that is consistent, whether you're showing up on TikTok, Facebook, or websites or events, right? So for me, it's about the person. It's at the core, I think, is how I would define brand anyway.
Sure. Well, Kim, I'm very encouraged to hear this, and thank you for the kind words. I'm a walking billboard for branding. My business cards are fedoras. I wear my eSAX, and everywhere I go, I can't go out without a hat. I keep one in the car just in case. And just as an anecdote, I was at a large event hosted by Startup Canada the other day, and I had people come up to me I haven't seen since COVID started. They said, "I recognized you across the room because of the hat. It rocks. You should keep wearing it." And I thought, yeah, this is who I am. And you have to be authentic, like you mentioned. You can't be one thing on social and then another thing in person. It's like you mentioned, the all-encompassing aspect that people realize adds value to the business if they can relate in some ways. Yeah. Oh, big fan of branding. So yeah, excellent suggestions and points. Thank you, Kim. How about money and cash flow tips? A lot of people starting out, or let's say been in business for a while, they may or may not have some reserves. How do they go about managing the money situation?
Oh, isn't that the question of the day? We get a lot of clients who are...
especially with your background as an accountant.
Right? Yeah, how do I get more money? Isn't that what we all aspire to at certain times? But, honestly, not to make businesses that are having some problems with cash flow. There are just as many that have lots of cash flow right now because of what's happened with COVID. They haven't spent, they haven't done things, they've scaled, they've done, or maybe the demand for their business is great that they've been able to grow. So there are different sides to cash flow problems. Maybe for illustrative purposes, the slide that I sent you is called the 12 boxes.
There we go. Thank you.
Yeah, you can see that. So the 12 boxes, it's a model that we use within the CFO Centre to really take a holistic look at what a client's business looks like. And cash flow is one little component. If you look at the right-hand side of the screen, you see at the strategic funding in the top right corner, then you see cash flow, and then in the bottom right corner, cash flow involves all three components of that. Cash flow is about having the right support network business to grow and scale and do the things that you want, whether that's relationship, whether that's grant funding, and seeking to have funding out there. Cash flow is about having access to that type. I recommend, there are a few things I recommend. I recommend that people have really strong banking relationships or financial partnerships. That relationship should not be out of fear. Ask them for money. It shouldn't be that type of relationship. It really should be, hi, Joe. It's great to talk to you. Wow, I had a great month last month. My cash flow's doing pretty good. Need anything from you right now. Maybe next time we talk, we can talk about some that I want to do going forward. So it's about having that open lines of communication with relationships to be able to allow you to draw upon those services and those types of funds when and if needed. Think about that relationship as not when you need it. And we saw a lot of that during COVID. People getting to the point where, oh, now what do I do? Ask for money, and they maybe haven't talked to their bank in a year. The bank doesn't know what's going on. Their banking partner's uncertain about what the plan is going forward. So, you're kind of starting from scratch. So part of it, the first part of it, is having a really good, strong relationship. Cash is about knowing what you have, knowing what you need, planning forward. So looking back when it comes to cash doesn't really do a lot of good. It's already happened. It's history. A lot of us fail to plan forward. We get caught up in the 50 different hats that we wear, and we don't pay attention to putting and forecasting forward. So having a good forecast that's 1 to 3 years out, at least one, that's a minimum, but 3 years. Having a forecast that is monthly, but weekly is even better. A weekly cash forecast, if you different cycles to it. So knowing where it's going, understanding how, if I buy this equipment or if I get this loan, what is that going to do? We tend to, as entrepreneurs, think, oh, great, I'm going to get $50,000 in my solved. The reality is you're going to have to service the debt and pay the interest principal. And what is that going to do to your cash flow down the road? So it's great to be given the gift of a loan or money or funds up front, run out, and you will have to repay that. So the cash really serves as that forward-looking view to that. And then I think top right corner, when you're looking at the strategy level of your business, it's really paying attention to the very first thing I said to you: where are we going? Why are we going there? And if you decide as an entrepreneur that you want to grow your business from in revenue to $50 million in revenue, that's going to cash. It's going to require funds to hire people, to get facilities, maybe bricks and mortar, your retail stores, lots of different things. Growing, the strategic funding piece of it is not only saying, what's your big, hairy, audacious goal that you have, okay, but how are we going to fund that? How are we going to make that happen? I might want to own a Maserati, but how am I actually going to pay for it? So cash flow shows up in so many different ways. And along the pillars, I'll call that right side a pillar, cash is a key component of really developing a sustainable business to reach your ultimate. And we work with clients in a lot of different ways. Sometimes it's putting a cash flow in place. Sometimes it's finding them funding. Sometimes it's finding them grants. Maybe they need to cut back on expenses. Maybe we need to generate cash in a couple of different ways. So lots of different ways that we work with clients to generate cash.
The concept of the cash flow, it's such an important aspect. I mean, I was very encouraged as well when you mentioned relationships. Just because you need money now and you haven't spoken to your banker in 2 years, yeah, it's an ongoing endeavor for the relationship angle for any business. Doesn't matter what stage you're at. But Cam, let's talk about the processes. In order to think long term, let's say you want to plan for $50 million, you want that Maserati next year. What type of processes can entrepreneurs implement to get where they want to be?
Yeah, that's a great question. Is the 12-box screen still available? Yes. Is it still up for people to see?
Yes, it is.
Okay. 3 core processes. If you want to call it processes or layers within a business that are needed. One of them is business support. So the very bottom level of that 12-box. You can't do it all yourself as an entrepreneur. I certainly learned that. I thought I knew that, but I experienced it. Now I really know it. I can't do it. So business support is critical. It's making sure that you have for your tax planning. You have an external accountant, perhaps. You have someone that's going to prepare your year-end financial firm type of relationship. You have a banking partner. You might have outsourced services. Maybe you're small, right? Like a lot of us are really small businesses. So I can't be an accountant and an HR person and an IT person and we can't be everything to everyone. Who do I need? Who do I need expertise from on an outsourced basis that I can pay hourly or half day or daily to come in and building the foundational support that you absolutely need within a business. Bank planning, outsourced key services, and making sure that you're compliant. Compliance can be a variety of different things. So that's kind of the base level of building that. The second piece of it is really operationally doing things well. We can get caught in wanting to do things excellent, but the operational piece is about doing things well. And when it comes to processes and procedures, this is the core of it. This is making sure that you have a system that tells you information that you can then make the decisions. Information that says how do you need a model? Are there items you're selling that aren't moving? What's my cash flow look like 2 months from now? A great example of this is as a process, a decision really draws on your regular management reporting, maybe monthly financial statements. So you need to have those things documented. You need to have them. And I came across a client, and here's a really good example of why processes and procedures are so important. Small business. The small business had one finance person, very experienced person, had been there for a very long time, decided during COVID that they were going to do something different. Good for them. Looking for their big their big goal. The problem with that is that that person had been there for so long, is everything they had was here. They knew instinctually how to do things within the business, and the owners relied upon that. Had a lot of trust in that relationship. When that person isn't there, if you don't have a manual that you can pull off the shelf and say, how do I post a deposit? How do accounts payable and pay my vendors? How do I do this, do that? What reports do I need to file every month with the government? Things. Then things start to unravel really quickly. And that business in particular called me. They called me 5 months after this had happened. So there's a year end, and then 5 months later, the person called and said, I haven't had financials for idea where my business is. Can you help? And so the answer is absolutely, I can help. I can, get things, we can get things caught up, we can get things back. But the real help comes in making sure that we document what's happening and train new people to do things and hire the right people. And so there's lots of little things that come out of a situation for that business around not having those things when this hits. So processes, procedures are really important just from a level. And we always think, let's save the account. Let's say some of those things. No, those things actually are really part of the day-to-day. And if you let that stuff slide, detrimental impact on the business. Turns out in that business, there were problems and they needed to change strategy. And once we have the information we need, okay, this is what's really happening. Let's change this, and this year. We're having a great year. We have a place that make them sleep better at night. So processes, procedure, quality of sleep at the end of the day.
Fantastic. Yeah. I mean, how much planning do entrepreneurs use in case one of their core leadership team leaves? It can't just be all up here like you mentioned. Now, no. Kim, let's talk a bit about successes in your very storied career. Are there any particular successes that come to mind that you would like to share?
Successes. I think a variety of different successes that I'm proud of. Decide to a very career that was, planes, trains, automobiles, and being on the go all the time. And choosing a better lifestyle and really paying attention to what do we need to lead our best life. A success for me. I was always really, really driven. So balance. I had a different definition of what that needed to. But I think making a change has been a real success for me, just from life, getting back to why I love being in business, and paying attention. So those were some great that I'll put in the success column. It's still evolving. It's like who knows what tomorrow brings. So I think that is always something. Continue to change. Business successes. I was really, really proud of the role when I worked with the company I was with for so long. When I started with that business, family-owned business, and transitional things to grow the business, and they kind of hit the brick wall of growth. And the brick wall of growth it's when grow, you don't have the money to buy. In this case, we didn't have the money to buy new trucks, expand the building, to hire new people. Like there were some growth objectives there. So embarking on a really interesting strategy of getting from a cash deficit into a cash positive was a great. We took that business from owing $14 to having $25 million in cash. It took It took a lot of years, but the thing I'm happiest about is not only going from a rough situation to a really situation, but it's all the little successes along the way. It's the little enhancements and seeing a business grow and flourish and going from that size to, it's just, you see people grow their careers, you see all of these other benefits. And then just working that month in, month out, weekly metrics, looking at things, just inspecting everything that I looked at all the time to just dial it up little. That was a great success. And I loved that business. I loved helping the owners achieve things that they never imagined that they could achieve. And ultimately, I mean, that became a $500 million business. One. So it went from a small family, and that one, yeah, it eventually, and it's still going, and it's nice, evolved over the years.
Speaking of evolving, I love the enthusiasm and the passion you have to help make other people's businesses easier and streamlined and productive. Kim, let's look about your future. Where do you want to be in 1 to 3 years from now? I know you mentioned this is what you ask your clients, but now I'm going to put you on the hot seat.
Oh, isn't that a tough one? People than about myself. I always want to be helping. I volunteer, like you said, with the women's business. Fantastic women who have their own. I volunteer with the Innovation Club on startup technology, helping them, just teaching them the simple little things about cash flow. I see myself continuing to be involved in entrepreneurial type endeavors. I really see myself in 1 to 3 years shifting from even perhaps the doing to the mentoring, teaching, coaching as a stronger opportunity to take, years of corporate experience, but now years of entrepreneurial small business experience and really help people jump over. So something that I'd like to do more. I'm an avid learner. I have a love of reading, learning, I'm taking a course right now. I'm taking another one next week. I have a long-term on stock trading. Go figure. I don't know. When the markets are at their worst, hey. So just dabbling in things that I really want to learn. I'm a life learner. And I don't see that slowing down at all.
Excellent. You have so much wisdom. I wish we had more time, Kim. But we're going to be wrapping up shortly. Do you have any last wisdom, closing thoughts that you would like to share with our audience?
There's lots. I could talk all day. You probably know that already about me. Trust your instinct. Ask for help. If you're really uncomfortable doing something, but you're trying to push through, it's like a square into that. And why is it something that's causing you a little bit of a pinch point? Almost always because we're not working from our strength. So always, if you're good at financial numbers, do that. If you're and developing, do that. Do what you do well and do more of it. And then help for those things that you don't. Because once you let those other things peel away, what you're left with is pretty authentic and it's pretty awesome. And that would be your authentic self. Work from your strengths and ask for help when you can yourself.
Some very valuable input there. A lot of the times we think as a small solopreneur, we have to do everything. Oh, I hate accounting, but I have to do it. And it takes away from your strengths. And so I think that's a very valuable takeaway. So thank you for sharing, Kim. Kim, how can somebody get in contact with you, please?
Oh, well, that's pretty easy. My email address is kim.cfocentre.com. And that's for small and mid-sized businesses who are looking for expertise to help them grow, essentially. They can also reach me for my executive coaching business at Stratitude.ca. So those are both available. Love to meet new people and learn about new businesses. And by all means, they can reach out to me if they want to have a chat.
Fantastic, Kim. We will be sharing your contact details in the description when we post this interview. Thank you. So today, folks, I would like to thank Kim Freeburn of the Stratitude Corporation and the CFO Centre for joining us and sharing some entrepreneur wisdom on Talk to the Fedora. We hope that this segment has helped you to grow your small business. And please subscribe to the eSAX YouTube channel to check out more of the hundreds of other eSAX videos for some great entrepreneurial content. Kim, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Have a great day today, Jared.